Hello everyone, it's Dead Mean here. I figured let's take a look at some Astroneer. It's a game I did a video on yesterday, I believe. It's a fun game, still in early access. I figured we can do a nice little introduction slash simple tutorial. So I'm gonna just kind of run around, play the game a bit, explain how the systems work, what I'm doing. So in the main menu here, we're just gonna go start with a new adventure, and it's just gonna pod drop us, and we're going to complete the very first mission of the game, which is pretty funny. So you don't have to do anything. I just enjoy the view. I'm not too sure if you can influence your landing location. I don't believe you can, but here we are. So when we touch down, we'll exit the pod, and she'll unfold. Okay, so we have our two main buildings in the game. This is our hab. We need this to survive. It provides a network of tethers and whatnot, or provides power and oxygen to the tether network. This is the landing pad. Without it, you're unable to access the quest menu at this point in the game. So as you can see, we have a little check mark. It means they want to reward us with landing on the planet by pushing one button. Great. So we've been given a few items. You can just pick them up instantly like I did by holding down shift, left clicking on them. It'll jump in your little bag there. So we're going to put the oxygenator in. Without it, the tether networks, which we'll build in the future, won't have any oxygen in them. So as you can see, there's no UI in the game, right? Or at least very little. So in order to tell how you're doing, let's move away from the hab. This little blue bar on the back of your backpack, it starts to deplete. That's the oxygen levels of the Astroneer. If you run out, you'll die eventually. It doesn't take too long. The yellow is power. Some tools, some actions require power. So as we finished planting the oxygenator, which was the next mission, they've given us some tethers. Now we can explore a little bit further now, because without this little blue line running back to the hab, we'll start suffocating. So the tether network allows us to escape, or to get away from the hab and find useful things, like this little research project. If we hold down F over these, we'll gain bytes. Those are the primary resource regarding the research in the game. So that's kind of like a consumable. But the F side, if we don't damage that little bush or eat it with our terrain tool, which we'll show later, we're going to be able to get more. So it's kind of like a renewable resource. So the tether network without the oxygenator plugged in, it's big problems. So keep that in mind. This oxygenator needs to be attached to the network of the tethers that you're attached to. So we'll get a bit more into that very soon. All right, canister. This allows us to deform the terrain and keep the material. So here we go. So we're going to pick up some material. See, there's like a blue line that's filling up in the ring. That's how much availability we have of material. So we can take this material and we can hold down left control. We can flatten the terrain a bit, and we can have a nice level area to try and to build a base in. As well, I'll show you when I encounter some. We could use it to bridge gaps and other challenges like that. So I'm going to pause here and come back. I'm going to go wander off down the tether network and explore, find some resources, and get ready to show them to you. Yep. So our tether network, as you can see, kind of runs off into the distance now. Didn't really talk about how these worked and where I got them. I got them from the quest reward from accepting the completion of some of these missions, right? So we'll put these all on tracking. and then it will let you know as you complete them. So as you're wandering, if you notice, as soon as the tether network disappears, push T again, and you'll drop a tether, assuming you have some in your bag. Holding down Shift and left click, and you can pick them back up. So I've ran down the tether network a bit. Here's that bush from earlier. I found some wreckage. Sometimes you luck out and you find intact components. So that's a little baby solar panel. And we can use that to generate small amounts of power. This is some scrap, which we'll use later on. Holding down Shift and left clicking, you can kind of put some of it in a basket. And then I'll just drop it on top of the little module there. So it's being held on to. So we ran down the network a bit further. This is some of the resources we're looking for. This is a compound. And of course we're eating the leaves as well. So what happens if you run out of the tethers? Well, if you push Q and open up your bag, you have a bunch of arrow keys here, and you can cycle through until you find the thing you would like to make, so we can make more tethers. And we'll hit that there, and thus now when these tethers run out, we'll have additional tethers. We can continue exploring. Here's some resource material, or resource project as I like to call them. We can put this in a research chamber later on once I build one, and we'll be able to gain bytes at a much greater rate than what we're finding on those bushes. So here's the other resource, resin, which commonly appears on the surface. We'll need a fair bit of this, and as you can see, there's a mission for us to collect more of them. There we go. So when you don't have enough room in your bag or your gun, it just flops out on the floor. So we'll left click on this to pick it up, and you'll notice, man, you move real slow. But push F. It's a little bit better, but you can at least hold down Shift to kind of run. So we're just going to take this sort of thing home. And don't be afraid to kind of run off the tether network. It takes a while to suffocate, so you don't need to become neurotic. If I ever get a friend on to show you, I've got a friend who won't be outside of the tether network. It just drives him bonkers. So we'll save that for now. Those 4 resin we collected earlier, we can come here and accept that we filled the small canister and we received bytes. Resourcing, they would also like us to gather 4 compound. So we'll just take these things out of our bag. And I'll quickly gather that last piece of compound. And that will give us the next that'll give us the next set of resources and materials, and then I can show you some of the crafting stations in the game. There we go. So we got the big ping in the bottom right there. We're all done. New mission is available to us. So see that big plus sign, or a check mark rather? That means we can come here, turn in. There's I guess you would call it a reward just waiting for us. So it's given us a few little platforms. These platforms, we'll need them to put many of the modules on in order to power them, and also to make sure oxygen is pumping through the entire base. So if we hold down F, we'll unpack it. There we go. And if we take this little plug and plug it in, see how it turned yellow? It means it's got some power. Power is being transferred. The blue line means oxygen is being transferred. So as you notice now, my oxygen tether is going to this because it's closer. And it's allowing us to have oxygen throughout the base wherever the modules are located. And like right now, yeah, the base is small. Doesn't sound like a problem. But later on, you'll have an enormous base, and you'll be happy that you're not suffocating attempting to just operate the machines in your base. So you could pick them up. Some items don't allow you to pick them back up once you've placed them or unpacked them, but some of them you can. You can pick them up, hit C and B, you can rotate them, you can plug them in, and get the benefit of oxygen throughout. How about we print us up something? So if we hit F while on the printer here, because it's powered now, we can ask it to make us a printer, larger printer. And the materials that we picked up will jump from our bag onto the device that's going to print. So you can manually put them on, but I don't see the reason. So we've asked the crafting station to make a slightly larger one. There are 3 nodes available in this one, so of course the things we can make will be slightly bigger. It'll likely give us some resources for doing that, because that was the mission. Perfect. Exactly what I wanted to build. I'm a fan of these platforms due to the way that you can put storage on the side of them and the way that machines will respond to them. So here's what I mean. So here's a storage block. We'll open it up and we'll say, we'll drop those on there. And I want to make the research center. How about that? Oh, actually, no. Let's make another platform. Oh, I may not have unlocked it. So we'll go with this one. So I don't have 2 resin in my bag, but what I can do is I could drop it on there with this storage crate or this storage shelf with the materials on it, and this device will draw the materials it's going to need to build. So there, I can ask it to start making that, but it's moving pretty slowly. Let's plug the solar panel in. It's not daytime, it won't be super great. And yeah, so we're gonna be waiting for that for a little bit. I'm gonna wander off, gather some things. When I find something worth showing you, I'll be back. Okay, so while I was away, I used the backpack and push Q to get in here, and I made a small generator. So this is him here. And I like to refer to them as leaf burners, as they consume organic to produce electricity. It's not a whole lot, but it's helpful when you're kind of struggling in the beginning to keep things going. So I'm going to load this up. You don't need to behave in this fashion to print. It's just some habits I've picked up. And I'm going to ask it to make a science station. Now, as you notice, as I cycle through, it automatically pulls the resources it needs from this little storage station that we've put on here. So if there was an output for this machine, we would also, it would output like smelted materials and refined materials and drop them on one of these platforms. And as you can see, this is moving pretty slow, so we're definitely having some power issues. Here's an indicator that we're not satisfying power, only partially. So we'll put our cursor over this and we can hit F, we can turn it on. And so now we have a slight surplus, is what that's saying. So we'll actually put U. There's a solar panel. It's dependent on being able to see the sky. Without it, the solar panel won't do anything. And so this guy will build a little bit quicker for us. And then we'll begin researching. So this is the best way. Well, not the best way. It's the most common way you'll probably gain research at the beginning of the game. So as before, we got to make sure the new platform that we've created for it is receiving power. The best way to do that is just hook it into one of the massive networks you've built. You can go through the trouble of creating like independent power systems and whatnot. I don't see a purpose at this point in the game. So there are a few objects that are researchable, like we can research these leaves if we wanted to, or this organic, or the resin, or even the little research nodes that are spawning in on him here and there. But this is the only way to get this project completed. You'll have to actually use this chamber. So when you have the item in there that you're looking to research, just hit F. You can open this up and boom. So you're essentially trading energy for bytes at this point. So this thing's going to consume electricity, and we're going to get, I guess that's, it has a potential of 440 or 450-ish bytes, and we're going to get 24 a minute by the looks of it, at least if I remember how to read that correctly. And of course, because we built the science station, the game wants to reward us. There we go for science, and we got a battery for building the little power plant guy here. So this leaf burner was a mission, and now that we've built that, here we go. We're allowed to claim the small battery. This battery will store excess energy like you would expect a battery to do. So if your system produces additional energy it's not going to use, it's going to store, it looks like 32 power units, and it can push 1. So not amazing, but you know, it can only push half of what this can, but backup power or some power is better than no power. So I believe we've covered a fair bit. The video will probably end up being greater than 10 minutes. I don't want to overdo it on the first go, so I'll just do a quick recap of what we covered here. The hab, this is the heart of your factory or network, at least in the beginning of the game. Don't forget to install your oxygenator. As you can see, without it, you have no oxygen throughout your network. This is your launch pad or your landing pad. You'll use this to complete your quests, receive the various rewards. It makes the game significantly easier, and once you start claiming these things, you don't want to necessarily build everything. Don't forget to plug everyone in to your network so they actually receive power. You can build a tether network by just walking and pushing T, as long as you have some tethers. You can make them in your backpack, push Q to get there. And keep your eyes open for little treasures as you're out and about, expanding your tether network, as you can find scrap metal and sometimes functioning modules, which will make life a lot easier. But other than that, everyone, I hope you have fun playing whatever game it is you guys like to play, whatever you get up to, and hopefully you follow me and I can show you some more. Talk to you later.